Not everyone that's in the prison that is guilty, but we have a university center criminal.
It's early morning, one of the busiest parts of the day, and the prime hunting period of the most fearful beast in this modern-day jungle. They slither past you quickly, menacing marauders gathering their daily spread. You stop suddenly, heart pacing, consumed with more anger than fear. One of them just jumped right into your path, came out of his den with no warning. He owns this jungle, and his condescending stare confirms it. You try to say something, but this predator, this self-proclaimed tyrannical beast, hits you with his most dangerous weapon. He turns away and leaves you agonizing in your burning rage. You've fallen victim once again to the most dangerous creature in traffic, the bus driver. I'm Shane. Welcome to another episode of Solutions, Answers from the People, simple solutions offered by St. Lucians. We hear people complain tirelessly about the transportation system in St. Lucia. Whether you ride the bus regularly or you're a driver on the road and encounter bus drivers daily. From poor service on the buses and safety issues for passengers to the blatant disregard for other road users by bus drivers, people are generally disgruntled with the current bus system. We ask the people, what is your solution to a more efficient and service-oriented public transportation system? Let's hit the streets and hear what the people had to say.
As every bus has their association, sometimes it's up to the person who is in charge to bring these, and it's sad that some of the bus drivers are somewhat ignorant. And I'm sorry, let's figure I drive in a bus, but everything has its process and everything has a way of filtering down. I guess it probably should come from the Ministry of Communications as well, who is responsible for the bus association in a sense. Let's see how that works out.
Okay, they just have to change their attitude because 3 years ago my son died in a road accident, and they just have to change their attitude and try and be careful on the road. That's all.
But what I think is that the drivers could be a bit more disciplined, and also the passengers could be more understanding towards the drivers also, and we could be more cautious on the road, and I think everything will just work out alright.
Drivers here now really turn to a madman, they turn to a crazy man now. They have no respect for the law. Now they have no respect for the traffic, they have no respect for nobody at all. You understand? No traffic for the law, for people, for the crossing, for pedestrian. Now they does anything at all. So what the government has to do, I can see for myself, have a stricter law for the drivers and them.
Well, listen, they are non-educated, and that's the point, right? Because you get a lot of the bus drivers non-educated, they only could drive, and drive don't need to be educated. Once they teach you to drive, you drive. That's the point. Now the main thing to do is the ministers to improve that, put their buses and send them and do something else.
I think they will send some of their drivers on a course, and they have to take their time to drive on the road. People not a dog on the road, because the money is not running. Because everybody have to get money, everybody have a life to live, but they have to be caution on the road for people, for others.
I think one of the things we should do, and we can do to improve that service is train our bus drivers. Because, like you rightly said, you enter the bus, sometimes you yourself greet them and they don't say anything to you. They just, okay, you know what, you board my bus, I don't have to tell you good morning or good afternoon or maybe even good night. So I guess there should be a method. You're going to do passengers or whatever, train them.
Personally, I don't think it's just the drivers, I think it is the mindset of the public along with the drivers. I think we have to change that. We have to change the laissez-faire attitude that we have as to we want to stop where we want. I must blame the driver for encouraging it, but the public has to play a big part in changing the whole system themselves, their attitude. Let the buses stop where they should be stopped, and not ask them to stop where they shouldn't be, where they cannot stop.
These were just some of the answers from the people. We'll take a break now. When we come back, more solutions. Welcome back to Solutions. We ask the people, what is your solution to a more efficient and service-oriented public transportation system?
Because they are the one in charge and they're supposed to have um, exercise good conduct, especially sometimes you find on the loud music, they want on the loud music, and all this thing it kind of put you off sometimes because you find yourself like you can't meditate when you're on the bus and they're always in a hurry, you know, but that's up to them.
One thing I think the bus drivers think that when they driving us, no matter what they tell us, it has to go that way. From my point of view, why we are paying for these services? Why do you think that you could shout behind us? Because it was an experience I had. It wasn't me, but it was with somebody. Why you want to shout behind somebody and say, oh, whatever? They are treating us like it's a favor they are doing us. It's not a favor. We are paying you to do these services, and you should react in a better manner towards people, because we are not dogs. We are human beings just like y'all.
They drive the buses recklessly because it's their bus, so they see like they could do what they want with it. I feel that's why they drive it like that. If they had like government issued buses, then they would try to take it better care of it, because they know if they damage it, they would have to pay for it or they would get in trouble for it. But if their buses, they can drive it recklessly, so they just do what they want.
That was our first set of solutions. We're staying on the roads with another major issue affecting road users. Recently, an old problem has resurfaced, which continues to create a major hazard for road users. It seems now we are forced to share the roads with horses and cattle. In the case of cattle, we see them crossing the highway occasionally to get to greener pastures on the other side. We now also have horses like the Wild West, sometimes running freely and at times with young riders galloping alongside vehicles. We asked the people, what is your solution to the problem of wild animals, particularly horses and cows, on the main highways and roads?
Well, what I think should be done is to get the owners of the animals and have them to fence it up. You know, if there is any space available from them.
It's not right. It's not right. Even on the beach, and sometimes the horses galloping, and sometimes you might have hypertension, you have a heart problem, and by the time you jump, that cause you fall and it might cause you death. And I find they are not taking that serious enough. They're not taking it serious enough. I find they should be really do something about it. Unless they charge one of them, so that something will be done more serious than that.
Oui, c'est même manière yo pas content yo ni pour espérer le pour yo aller avec le pour yo pas aller. Oui.
By stopping the horses on the riders riding the horses on the road is putting police officers 24/7. You know, traffic officers, the same way they riding up and down, checking the bus drivers and whatnot. I think they need to be checking the horses the same way.
To me, they should just have a special place to have those horses where there are no vehicles, no traffic, no human beings even, you know, to get knocked down and stuff like that, because it's a hazard. It's a health hazard.
Or probably maybe they could build a special lane for the horses, like kind of like a sidewalk. Or maybe probably it's a huge ask, but maybe they should get them licenses or something, some kind of permit to allow them to ride on the public highways, you know.
Police have to seize the horse and arrest the owner that have it breaking the law.
More solutions coming up after this break. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Solutions on Choice TV. We asked the people, what is your solution to the problem of wild animals, particularly horses and cows, on the main highways and roads?
I will not say police have to arrest them because the horse have 4 legs. If it is their vehicle, but the thing is that when the horse shit on the road, nobody clean it. That is the problem.
Well, my problem, everybody should have their horse in a stable. Yeah, because it's causing life being taken on the road and it's not all right.
They can enact laws so that people can adhere to the laws, and that there will be no horses on the road, or they can build a specific place so that people can ride their horses.
Well, yeah, I don't really have a solution for it. I know in the olden days, these roads were created for animals, well, horses in the first place. And now, in modern society, there are vehicles, so I guess they've upgraded to incorporate vehicles and horses on the same street right now. I don't think it's feasible.
So sani pou do wood because gadi sa souval fait pour ride côté moun pa ka passer à la videng. Mais là souval on ni souval, moi ni souval moi. I can meet well traffic la block. Ce garçon pas me le rien. You can ride n'importe manière you vle. Loi pas kon aille. C'est pas même ni bon loi. On a été assise là, qui ne va pas tranquille là. Mon frère bail qui rong. Regardez-moi. Mon prend loi à la main. Tout ces bail ça pas agissant.
You know, in the interest of fairness, you know, if you travel around the world, you know, everywhere you go, you see horses and buggies commuting on the road. I don't know what's going on with St. Lucian public and their mentality. You know, they need to educate themselves to the times. What the horse operators and owners need to do is to put a basket to pick up the horse drop-ins, and that would make life a whole lot more easier, you know. But to try to eradicate horses from riding on the public streets, hey, this is an old-fashioned form of transport, and to let you know, it's good for the tourists. It's an attraction.
Not at all, because it's not right. Because especially when the school train come from school, right? Because especially you see the gap in busy, okay? And the fellas every afternoon, every morning, early in the morning, 6 o'clock, going on tie horse and they're riding. And there's people going to work early in the morning. I feel because the horses and them, they send their feet behind you, like the place that you pass in. And they tie it in the middle of the road, even going on people's property and tie horses. And when it's bad, right? Come along the highway, the same thing. Going by the village side, the same thing with the horses, right? It's not right. Because I find they should be a stop with that, okay?
Okay, let's pull it in park and wrap it up. All these wild animals along the road have owners. The unfortunate thing is you never see the owners when an animal is involved in an accident because they don't want to be held responsible for the damage to your vehicle. My advice, start rounding up these animals and place them in pens. The owners will come running soon enough. Now, our transportation system, or maybe I should say the lack of a system. And that, first and foremost, is the problem. What now stands as a bus system in St. Lucia is the result of an ad hoc collection of bus drivers in various communities who eventually formed themselves into associations based entirely on their needs. Why is that a problem, some might ask? Well, let's start with a statement that has often put me in hot water with some bus drivers. The transportation services of our country should never be left up to the whims and fancies of private individuals. There must be a system that is owned and or managed by a national or municipal authority that controls prices, schedules, the service standard, and quality. The lack of a proper transportation system has sabotaged the development and economies of small communities around St. Lucia. Take a community like Canraise, or let's say Font Saint-Jacques, for example, which over the years they were impossible to get to after a certain time of day. Apart from farming and fishing, there were no other jobs. One had to leave the community to earn a living, but traveling to and from Castries or Vieux-Fort for work or school was not physically possible or just cost prohibitive. People would simply move out of the communities, taking the earnings and resources with them. Now today there are a lot more buses, all privately owned, but there's no organized system that ensures a proper service is offered to commuters. In the absence of a completely nationally owned bus system, there must be a governmental collaboration of the private bus owners, which ensures a quality transport system which meets the needs of the people. With a privately owned bus system, the government is missing out on a much-needed revenue stream. My solution would include, firstly, a cash-free token or card system for payment of bus services. Bus drivers would then redeem these tokens weekly and get paid by the national or municipal board which oversees the bus service. A percentage of that, of course, would have to go to the government. Secondly, the bus routes have to be reorganized. Take the Groseley route, for example. There should be an express bus non-stop that goes to Groseley and Castries, and local buses that make stops along the route. Now, Shock, Corinth, and Moshi would be hubs for shuttles into Babono, Grand Riviere, etc., with only a couple express buses from these communities to Castries. Thirdly, bus drivers would have to be trained and certified by the board with a good bus certification shown clearly on the bus. And most importantly, a proper system of bus stops that have to be adhered to. Make the drivers liable for illegal stops. Pretty soon, they won't be stopping anywhere people want to. And that's it for today. If you have something to say, we want to hear. Look out for the Choice TV crew for a chance to present your solution to the country. Now, if you have a burning question you want to ask the people, we can do that too. Send us an email with your hot burning issue at solution@choice39.tv. That's SOLUCIAN @choice39.tv. Join us again next week for more Solutions.
So much things happening. I work on a cruise ship.
Not everyone that's in the prison that is guilty, but we have a university center criminal